Hi everyone, welcome back again to another real world scenario series video. The focus of this video is going to be Recon on web servers. As this part was not covered in the last video, I'll be covering it up over here. And for the same target, as you can see, the first target is aimsrestaurant.com, the second target is itsecgames.com. I'll be doing active as well as passive recon on the websites. For the active part, I'll be doing port scanning, enumeration of the services, daemons and their versions, enumeration of directories and subdirectories, listing out the vulnerabilities, allowed HTTP methods, and information disclosure. The tools I'm going to use is Nmap and Nikto. Also, I'll be covering a part on how to be anonymous while doing the scanning and how to go about using Tor SOX5 proxy so that the DNS requests are handled by Tor, monitoring the leaks when doing Nmap scan using Wireshark, preventive and control measures to minimize and to prevent the leaks. Also going to mention about the various type of leak like WebRTC leaks when doing browsing, also the DNS leaks which happen when we are using the default ISP's DNS server. So before starting with the first scenario, I'm going to tell you about the various parameters that I'm going to use with Nmap. Also to note that for the first website I'll be using active scan, and for the second website I'll be using active as well as passive scan. Now for the first website I'll be using TCP sync scan. Now point to be noted about TCP sync scan is that there is a IP leak which happens because the half open connections are established and not full connections, and proxy chains when it is used with Tor or any other proxy is unable to process those requests and your IP leaks out. Also the same thing happens when trying to detect a OS. To avoid all this, in the second scenario I'll be using a ST, that's for TCP connection, so that full connections are established. The various other parameters is for standard service detection is SV. For this all parameters there is no IP leak, but I'll be telling you all that in the second scenario and how to take evasive measures to avoid any IP leak. We can set the aggressiveness of the service detection by using dash version intensity from 0 to 5. Also we can save up the results to a XML file using the OX parameter. To dig deeper into the website we can use NSE scripts. Now there is an option over here to use the safe scripts so we don't be too aggressive against the web server, and we can also specify the scripts to use. So for the first scenario I'll be using the script http enum. So it enumerates out all the directories and subdirectories and the paths which are accessible. So the evasive measures that we need to take to avoid any IP leaks like WebRTC and everything I'll be covering up in the next scenario. So let's start off. I'll first use Nikto. It's just giving us a warning that the server's headers were not found in the Nikto database, and it's asking us whether to send this information to Nikto. I want to say no. So starting from the top, you can see that it has found that Apache version is 2.4. It has found that anti-click jacking is disabled. It has found the various methods used over here, HTTP methods used here. It has found that directory listing is enabled for the following directories. And also to note over here that it has found that there is a WordPress database. So this is how I found out that there is a WordPress database running on the same host, and I went about using WP scan in my previous video. So this has not given us much information, so let's go about and use Nmap to gather up more information on the host. I'm going to say clear. I'm going to use SYN stealth scan. Also going to do OS discovery for the various services. We're going to type in the host. We're going to output the result with OX to root desktop aims.xml. Also another thing over here, let's use the script. So starting from the top again, over here you can see that it has again detected that Apache server 2.4 is running on 80, and this HTTP enum script gives us a much larger list of directories than what Nikto gave us. And over here you can see that there is a uploads directory clearly mentioning over here, and this is how I came to know where the web shell which I uploaded got uploaded to, and I directly transverse into the directory and access my web shell. 443 for SSL, also giving us the same directory list. And over here you can see that there is MySQL running on 3306, and this is how I came to know which database is running. It was MySQL version 5.5, and I could access into that database directly as I already knew the version and what type of database was running on that. So this is how we carry out active scanning using Nmap and Nikto. So I'll go about the next scenario now. So to start off with the second scenario, I'm going to start off with passive scanning. So for passive scanning, I'm going to use a site called netcraft.com. So I'm going to put my link over here to the second website. I'm going to press this button here. So the results you can see over here that the site was first created July 2012. And the possible OSs is Linux or Windows Server 2003, and possible web servers is Nginx 1.1 or Microsoft IIS 6.0. So let's go on ahead and do an active scan on the website. For the active scan, I'll be using proxy chains along with Tor. So let's start off with Tor. Just to note that Tor comes built in into Kali Linux. If it is not installed, you're going to have to install it if you're using any other distros. Okay, our Tor is set up. Another thing to do over here is we need to set in proxy chains config file. So the config file is located in etc directory. The things to be changed over here is, by default in Kali Linux, this is set to SOX 4, so we need to change this to SOX 5. The reason why we are changing it to SOX 5 is that so that the DNS resolution takes place through Tor and not directly to the ISPs or whatever default DNS server is set. So before I start off, I'm going to start Wireshark. The reason why I'm starting Wireshark is to monitor if there are any IP leaks. I'm going to stop this interface now, and I'm going to do a ping first. You can see over here it has done a ping on the IPv6. We need a IPv4, so I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to add in -4, and over here you can see that it's our IPv4 here. I'm going to copy this IP address and put it here. As you can see, there are no packets yet. So now I'm going to start. Now let's start Nikto with proxy chains. So this is the command line, proxy chain Nikto -h followed by the website. So you can see over here it was not able to detect the web server. So let's do a scan on the IP address. As you can see over here that there are no IP leaks. There are no packets directly connecting to the host, so our IP is not getting leaked out. But this scanning is going to take a long time with the OLE network in place. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cancel it here and I'm going to do a direct scan and show you the result. And as you see now, this directly trying to connect to the host and our IP is getting leaked out. The reason why I'm doing it direct is otherwise it's going to take a long time for this scanning to complete. If I do it directly, then it's going to complete faster. So, but when you're really trying to do it and you want to stay anonymous, you're going to have to do it with the OLE network in place. So over here we can see that the session has terminated because the host reached the limit. So we're going to have to try it with the C parameter over here to list out all possible directories for further investigation. But I'm going to end it over here and try to enumerate using nmap. So when using nmap, I'm going to show you all the possible leaks that turn up. I'm going to reset this. Proxy chains, nmap. I'm going to use the parameter SS for sync scan. And you can see over here that even though we are using proxy chain along with Tor, our packets are directly connecting to the host and our IP is getting leaked. Also, it was not able to connect because possibly the pings are being blocked. So you're going to have to use no pings. Also, when using proxy chains with Tor or other proxies, we're going to have to anyways use this parameter because the ICMP packets don't pass through the proxy chain and directly connect to the host. So to properly use this, we're going to have to change this to T to use full connect or TCP. And we're going to have to set in the parameter PM. And also let's set in the other parameters SB. And as you can see now, no more leaks. Let's try it again. I'm going to reset this. Again, as you can see, our packets are not directly connecting to the host and our packets are actually passing to the OLE network. So I'm going to do this without the proxy chain now so that the enumeration is faster. When you are really doing it, you're going to have to do it with proxy chain, but just for the video purpose I'm doing it directly. Also, while we are doing it, let's set in the script also. And as you can see that the process is completed and it has discovered only 2 ports here. and it has failed to discover the directories. But if you look up over here, Nginx has discovered only one directory over here under JS. So this is how you go about scanning a website, and also to make sure that we use Tor and proxy chains properly. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is about WebRTC leaks. Now WebRTC is basically when we use like real-time connections for audio, music, or any other types of like geolocation parameters which are used in scripting, that gives out our location and even our internal as well as external IP addresses. So this I'm going to demonstrate by a site called ipleak.net, which is going to tell me about my IP leaks and whether my browser is leaking out the IP. So as you can see over here, it's showing me the DNS servers that I'm using. It's telling me my internal IP address, also my external IP address. Also showing me the geolocation, browser details, screen size, everything. So this all information gets leaked out. To avoid such leaks out, we need to disable WebRTC, and to go about it, it's clearly told over here how to do it in the different browsers. So this is one thing that you need to be careful about, because it's basically due to scripting, and mostly many of the scripts are allowed on the PC, on the browser, and lead to internal as well as external IP leakage. The other leakage is involving DNS leaks. We already took care of it when we were using SOCKS 5 and proxy chains, but when you are using proxies with a browser, it's better to always set your DNS to use a public one. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching.